How to start minimalism when you feel overwhelmed. Your life is cluttered, maybe not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, digitally cluttered in every way possible. And somewhere in the middle of that chaos, you stumbled upon this word, minimalism. It sounded clean, light, free. And then you looked around your house, your desktop, your to-do list, and thought, how in the world am I supposed to start something like that? That, right there, is the beautiful irony of it all. Minimalism calls to the most overwhelmed souls, not because they are naturally minimalist, but because they are drowning. But before we dive deeper, if you're watching this and you're feeling buried under stuff, under decisions, under noise, pause for a moment. Hit that subscribe button. Like this video if you're ready for change, even if it's just a whisper of readiness. Drop a comment and tell me what you want to let go of first. And make sure to click the link in the pinned comment. That link could be the start of a life-transforming journey for you. It has been for so many others. Don't let this moment slip. Here's the thing no one tells you. You don't start minimalism by being minimalist. You start it by being brutally honest with yourself. Not Instagram aesthetic honest. Not 10 hacks to declutter your kitchen honest. But raw, unfiltered. This is a mishonest. You admit that you're overwhelmed and that the overwhelm is costing you your peace, your sleep, your focus, maybe even your joy. You admit that you're exhausted from maintaining things that don't really matter, that half your wardrobe hasn't seen sunlight in years, that your phone has more apps than you have conversations in a day. And that's when something begins to shift. Minimalism, real minimalism, doesn't begin with trash bags or storage bins. It begins with discomfort. That itch that tells you something isn't right. That quiet scream inside your chest that says, there has to be another way. And when that voice becomes loud enough, when the chaos becomes unbearable, you're ready. Not for perfection, not for Pinterest, but for something real. You begin where it hurts the most. Maybe it's your closet. Maybe it's your calendar. Maybe it's the way you say yes to everything because you're afraid of being disliked. Minimalism isn't just about stuff. It's about space. Mental space. Emotional space. And you start creating that space one uncomfortable decision at a time. One drawer, 1 hour, 1 word. You start saying no. You start deleting. You start breathing again. And it doesn't feel magical at first. It feels weird. Like you're throwing away pieces of your identity. Because, in a way, you are. You're letting go of the you that thought happiness was at the bottom of a shopping bag, or behind that extra gig, or inside a perfectly curated digital life. You're shedding skins. It's awkward. It's emotional. Sometimes, it's even boring. But oh, it is liberating. You start noticing space, not just on your shelves, but in your thoughts. You're less reactive. You breathe before you scroll. You pause before you buy. You start asking, do I really need this? Or am I just bored, anxious, tired? And that question becomes a weapon. A soft, quiet weapon that dismantles a life built on autopilot. And suddenly, not all at once, but steadily, your life becomes lighter. Not perfect, not sterile, but clear. And in that clarity, you find things you hadn't felt in years. Stillness, focus, time. You read more. You laugh more. You rest without guilt. You work with intention. You find beauty in the ordinary because you're finally present enough to see it. Minimalism isn't a finish line. It's not a challenge to win. It's a lifestyle. One rooted in the belief that less really can be more. More freedom. More clarity, more peace. And if you start today, even if it's just one small step, you are already on the path. The overwhelm won't vanish overnight, but it will lose its grip, one breath at a time. So if this speaks to you, stay with us. Subscribe to the channel for more grounded, real conversations about this journey. Leave a like if something in you just clicked. Share this with someone who's been whispering that they need change too. And click the link in the pinned comment. It leads to something powerful, a resource that might just be the key to your turning point. This is how it starts, quietly, but powerfully. Welcome to the shift. There's a strange kind of exhaustion that comes not from doing too much, but from simply owning too much. The clutter, the chaos, the noise. You wake up, already behind. You step over a pile of clothes to reach for a shirt you don't even like. Your phone buzzes with notifications you didn't ask for. The fridge is full, but somehow empty. The walls are lined with stuff that doesn't matter, and somewhere deep inside, a question echoes quietly. How did it get like this? If you've ever looked around and felt suffocated by your own life, you're not alone. You are living in an age that worships more. More choices, more gadgets, more apps, more hustle, more things. But you don't feel more alive. You feel less. Less energy, less joy, less peace. And that, right there, is your signal. That is the moment where minimalism stops being a trend and starts becoming a lifeline. Before we dive deeper into the path that can change everything, take a second to make a decision. If you're ready to take back control, if you're ready to breathe again, subscribe to this channel. Like the video so others find it too. And drop a comment below sharing what part of your life feels the most overwhelming right now. Most importantly, click the link in the pinned comment. It leads to a real opportunity to reset your life and start something deeply transformative. Don't just watch this, do something with it. Minimalism is not about white walls and empty rooms. It's not a design trend or a competition to own the fewest number of socks. Minimalism is a mindset, a quiet rebellion against everything that's been shoved into your space, your calendar, and your mind. It's the discipline to say no, and the courage to let go. It is clarity, and when you are overwhelmed, clarity is everything. But here's the problem. Most people never start. They see the mess, feel the weight, and freeze. They imagine minimalism as a perfect after photo in a magazine, but that perfect moment feels galaxies away from where they're standing. They think they have to become a new person before they begin, but the truth is, you become that person by beginning, not tomorrow, not next year, today, and not all at once, but step by step, choice by choice, breath by breath. Let's be honest. Overwhelm feels like drowning in slow motion. You're not just dealing with your stuff. You're dealing with the emotional baggage tied to it. The guilt, the nostalgia, the I might need this one day voice, whispering in your ear. And that's why starting feels impossible. Because it's not just a physical process. It's psychological warfare. But here's your secret weapon, awareness. Because once you see the truth behind your clutter, you can never unsee it. You start to realize your home is not a storage unit for your past. It's a sanctuary for your present. Minimalism begins not with a donation box, but with a shift in perspective. You stop asking, what can I get rid of? And start asking, what do I actually need? That one question shatters the illusion. It clears the fog. You begin to see that most of what's around you isn't helping you live, it's helping you avoid life. And in that moment, you get a glimpse of something else. A life that's not busy, but full. Not loud, but meaningful. A life that breathes, and you're not too late. You're right on time. So where do you begin when everything feels like too much? You start where the weight is heaviest. Not where it's most visible. Not where it's trendy to declutter, but where your life is bleeding the most energy. For some, it's the closet, jammed with clothes they don't wear. For others, it's the kitchen packed with tools they don't use. But for many, the real clutter is digital. The endless stream of messages, the photos you'll never look at, the apps you downloaded during some midnight burst of hope. It doesn't matter where you begin. What matters is that you begin. And when you do, something interesting happens. You start to feel uncomfortable, not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're finally confronting what's been ignored. The discomfort is a good sign. It means the spell is breaking. You'll feel resistance. Your mind will try to convince you that you're giving up something important, but the truth is, you're not losing anything real. You're shedding the illusion that things give you identity. They don't. They never did. Minimalism isn't deprivation. It's not about stripping your life down to some cold, sterile skeleton. It's about stripping away everything that stands between you and the life you were meant to live. You'll realize that when you own less, you see more. When you stop buying to fill the silence, you begin to hear yourself again. Your mind gets quieter. Your steps become lighter. You begin to make decisions not out of obligation, but out of intention. That's the moment it clicks. You're no longer surviving your life, you're sculpting it. And yes, people will question you. They'll ask why you're throwing out things that are perfectly good. They'll wonder if you're going through a phase. And maybe you are the phase where you stop living for appearances and start living for peace. You'll find that letting go of objects teaches you how to let go of expectations, comparisons, regrets. You realize that the real clutter isn't on your shelf, it's in your mind. And once you learn how to clear one, you learn how to clear the other. There will be setbacks. Days when you feel like you've barely made a dent. Days when the weight of it all pulls you back under. But you keep going, because every drawer you clean, every folder you delete, every purchase you pause on, it all builds momentum. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. You're reprogramming years of habits, beliefs, and impulses. That takes time. It takes patience. But it is worth everything. You'll notice your habits changing. You'll walk past the sales rack without a second glance. You'll hesitate before clicking add to cart. You'll start asking better questions. Do I need this? Becomes, does this align with the life I'm building? And before you know it, your outer world begins to reflect the inner transformation. You're not just owning less, you're needing less. And in that space, something extraordinary grows. Freedom. Freedom from comparison, from chaos, from the myth that more is better. You'll have time you didn't have before, space you didn't know you needed, energy you thought was lost. You'll look around one day and realize your home feels lighter, your mind feels clearer, your life feels more yours. And the best part, you'll inspire others, not by preaching, but by being, by showing that it's possible to live differently, to opt out of the madness, to choose simplicity in a world addicted to excess. Your life becomes proof that peace isn't something you buy, it's something you build. So keep going, keep clearing, keep asking the hard questions. Because every step you take toward less is a step toward more of what matters. And that's the beauty of minimalism. It's not about having nothing, it's about having enough. Enough space, enough time, enough clarity to finally breathe, think, and live with purpose. And as you walk further down this path, something profound happens. You begin to see the lie for what it is. The lie that told you you were behind if you didn't have the newest version. The lie that sold you happiness in glossy packages and endless subscriptions. You stop chasing what never belonged to you in the first place, and you begin to reclaim what always did: your attention, your time, your calm. You realize that so much of what you once called yours was never really yours. It was stuff you were managing, maintaining, worrying about. Now that it's gone, you finally feel the weight of it, not in your hands, but in your shoulders, your sleep, your thoughts. You understand that minimalism isn't about spaces that look perfect in photos. It's about the invisible relief of being able to breathe again. And nothing is more beautiful than that. You start to spend more time alone, but not in loneliness, in presence. You sit with yourself, with your thoughts, with the quiet. And in that quiet, you meet someone you haven't seen in years. Yourself. Not the version of you designed for social approval. Not the one wearing trends or quoting influencers. The real you. The one that always knew that more wasn't the answer. the one that felt trapped in the noise and never knew why. And slowly, you begin to trust yourself again, to stop asking everyone else what you should want, to stop trying to match someone else's idea of a full life. Your decisions become cleaner, simpler. You don't need permission to let go. You don't need validation to choose less. You just move with clarity, with purpose, and it's not just your home that changes. Your schedule, your relationships, your goals, they all shift, they align. You stop saying yes to things that drain you. You stop entertaining drama, cluttered commitments, social expectations that never made sense. You begin to crave slowness. You find beauty in repetition, in space, in silence. You wake up and drink your tea in peace, not because you're escaping the world, but because you've finally come home to yourself. And as the days pass, you'll notice something even more powerful. You stop reacting. You stop flinching at the chaos of the world. You become less emotionally hijacked by the noise, the news, the marketing, the madness. You've built something solid inside you, a stillness, a confidence. And when you have that, it doesn't matter what the world throws at you. You're no longer pulled in every direction. You choose your path. You walk it. And that's everything. You'll find that minimalism bleeds into every area of your life. You eat more simply, but enjoy your meals more. You talk less, but your conversations mean more. You work with more focus, because your mind isn't drowning in distractions. You wear fewer outfits, but feel more like yourself. You realize that you never needed more things to feel complete. You just needed less noise to hear what was already whole. This is not just about aesthetics. This is about reclaiming your sovereignty, your power, your life. This is not a hack. This is not a phase. This is a return to what's real, a quiet rebellion against the culture of overwhelm. And if you're here, still listening, still watching, that means something. That means the voice inside you is getting louder. The voice that wants change, that wants peace, that wants a life that doesn't feel like a to-do list. Now is your moment. Right now. This is not something to put off until you have more time, more space, more energy. That day won't come. Minimalism isn't about waiting for perfection. It's about creating space so you can begin. Today, right here, with what you have, wherever you are, even if it's messy, even if it's just one drawer, one decision, one breath of awareness, it counts. If this message has stirred something inside you, then act on it. Don't let it fade. Make this the moment where things begin to shift, where you move from inspiration to application, where you don't just admire the idea of a simpler life, you start building it, brick by intentional brick. So pause this video and take a small action. One action, throw something out, delete something, say no to one thing. And when you're done, come back. Hit the like button to support this message. Subscribe to this channel if you're ready for more content that helps you return to what matters. And leave a comment. Share your journey, your struggle, your first step. Let this be a space of real conversation, not just consumption. And above all else, don't forget to click the link in the pinned comment. That's where we go even deeper. That's where transformation begins. It's a path for those who are ready to live with intention, to build lives that are free, clear, and real. Because minimalism isn't just a look. It's a way of seeing, of being, of living. And your life, your real life, is waiting on the other side of less.